Hi guys, this is Ola from Card Pond. In this video, we are going to proceed with our Xbox controller Series X pad and we're going to be creating these buttons behind here. Now these buttons are kind of complicated because of the form that they have, and I have tried several methods for several times to achieve that, and aside achieving it, I've also looked at the time it takes to actually get it done, as well as the complexity of the modeling process. So therefore, right now, I've chosen a method which might not completely look like this, but it is easy to follow and it is also short to work with. Alright, so in this video, we are going to be using the freeform tool, and we are going to be using the cut or split body as well as offset surfaces. Yeah, all right then. So at this point, I guess we just go right into it. So first things first, I know that you might observe these parts which are here, but these are simply the buttons that we have created in the past, and I brought them in here. However, in subsequent videos, I'm going to show us how to bring our parts in to our major folder or major file and properly position them at their allocated spaces. All right. So the first thing we're going to be doing here right now is we're going to create a freeform, which is going to be really simple to do. So I go over here, click on freeform, and I would say I need to create a plane. The software asks me for my plane, my first planar surface, so I select on this. All right, we have center rectangle type here, so I'll just change mine to 2 points, and back view, I begin from here. Now I wanted to bear in mind that I'm creating this freeform larger than the space that we have for the button. As I said earlier on, we are going to be using the split body, and for us to effectively use that, we need the split tool to be larger than the body. Alright, so I select my first point and my second point somewhere here, and change the length faces to 1 and 1. Right now, we'll just do it this way. Okay, so the object we're creating is not visible. That's not a big deal. So I go to edit form and we'll do something really simple. I select on this edge, hold on to my alternate key and drag this planar face here. I drag it once, still holding on to my alt. I drag it the second time, the third time, and the fourth time. Now I know it looks weird, but we're just going to align this and change it into the form that we want. So I want it to come up this way, this way, this comes this way. Alright, let's control and move. Bring this downwards. Bear in mind I'm making this to be larger than the original space we have, but not so large, so that the feature is at least still kind of close to what we would like to achieve. Alright, let's put this way. I'll take this upward also. Bring this down because it is very important, and take it this way. Alright, I think we are almost done with this face. Alright, so with this I can say okay, we know we have the second part here, so we have to like make or mirror these faces we've created here. So I go to symmetry and say mirror or duplicate, select on this. My mirror plane is going to be this plane. Weld, yes. So the weld allows us to have an automatic symmetry line. Let's say okay. So we notice the green line here, and that's our line of symmetry. To go on, I would create an extra edge, or double click on one of these and just try to place this quite just at the middle and say okay. Not at the middle necessarily of the surface itself, but the middle of this of the transparent outline in the background or behind. Alright then, at this point we have some things to do. I double click on this line newly created. Select priority. Not faces, not body, display and edges. Alright, so I've selected all of these. I go to my back view and modify. I drag this outward this way. Alright, let's change this to the box view, alternate and 1, because it allows us to properly look at the changes we are making. So I do this and go back to this view. I take this downward a little bit. Yeah. Alright then, so we have this, and then I go back to the side view and pick on these bottom lines and drag them outward this way. Yeah, that's all we're doing, and I'd say okay. Alright, so let's see, alternate and 3, it looks this way, not bad looking. However, I'll try to change something else. Alternate and 1, I'll double click on this. So double clicking on that, select this and this other edge here, right view, modify, and I will bring that backwards a little bit. With all this done, our next step is going to be, I'm going to crease or make this edge sharp. So I'll go to modify and select on crease. I double click on this line, so you select the entire thing, and I would say okay. Alright, now I go over to the top view, and in my canvas I have my top plane here. I guess I'm going to have to make these ones invisible. Here now we notice that we have something like an extrusion here, right, and then an indent here. So we're going to try to replicate that, and to do so I would select on I go to modify, I select on this face and this second face here. Back to top view, I will drag those inwards a little bit, not so much because it's not a very large indent, and then using this button I'll click and drag to expand what we have. Alright, I say okay, and with this we add new edges. Let's double click on this and just drag it in close to this point. Say okay, and I repeat the same process for this edge here and drag it this way and say okay. Alright, alternate and 3, this is how it looks. I suppose that we are satisfied with this. Alright then, our next step, I'll finish this form. Alright, in my right view, this is what we have. The next thing for us to do is, I can hide the canvases now, is to create a body. So I'll begin by making my sketches visible, and we're going to be using this front face cut which we used earlier on during the design process. I'll make the bodies invisible now, and then extrude, and I would select on this part. I will extrude it going backwards by about, let's say, 5 millimeters. I'm not sure how large that is. But this needs to be shown. Alright, so extruding backwards about 5 millimeters. It's not bad looking. But let's make it 4 millimeters just to reduce it a little bit. Alright, so 4 millimeters backwards, and I'll say okay. Then I go back to extrude and still the same front face cut, the same profile. I extrude it in the other direction, let's say -10, and create a kind of tapered angle to it about, let's say, in -20 degrees, and have it to be join, and I would say okay. Alright, then at this point I can make the sketches invisible, and our next step is going to be to cut through this shape. But before we do that, we're going to make a little bit of adjustment. I'll go back to this freeform. I'll say edit, select the entire thing, and in the right view I'll move it forward just a little bit. I'm moving it forward so that it doesn't it cuts this place the way I want it to. So I'll go and say okay and finish form. Alright, so this is let's see. Yeah, this is what we have, which is not bad looking. Our next step is going to be to split body. Body to split this body, and split into is this body. I'd say okay. And here we have created extra bodies. Make this side invisible, and let's see. All right, so it hasn't split it completely, so we repeat the process. Split body, body to split, and splitting tool again is this, and I would say okay. Now we have this also split, and what we have left is what is aligned to our freeform 2. I could select on this 2 and say remove, because that's better than just hiding them. And then we make this invisible. Alright, so this is what we have. It looks a little bit I'm not really sure. Let's see. Body. Okay, so the indent we created here, bringing it inwards, was not so much, so we're going to do that again. We simply go to the freeform tool, double click on this, modify, and drag it inside a little bit, and finish form. Alright, so what we can do is, in this case, we can say replace face. So replace this face, this face, this face, this face, all of these faces, and say target face is this surface here. Okay, so it gives us the same thing. I mean, the split body was having issues, so we just use that. Alright, so if I make the body invisible, now we have something like this, which is pretty much very close to what we tried to have. And then our next thing for us to do is going back to this view. If I make the canvas visible again, and we notice here that we have kind of cuts, right? So we're going to try to replicate those cuts, and to do so, this is visible. Make this hidden. I'll create a new sketch on this plane. My body is made visible, so we know what we're doing. And I create a line, construction line from the origin point going upward. Switch it off. Then I create a line coming this way, check mark, and another going upwards this way, check mark. Alright, so I just noticed that the line created here now needs to be moved because it has to be after this curve. So I select on it and drag. I'll drag it forward. Let's see, go back. I select and what's going on? Ctrl Z, Ctrl Z, Ctrl Z, line, and I'll create it somewhere here. Move this around. Yeah, so that's a good position. At this point, we would mirror this 1 and 2 and mirror it across this line here. Alright then, we're done with this and say finish sketch. In this view, what we can do now is, I would say, extrude. We extrude these lines as thin lines or thin extrude. 1, 2, 3, 4. And make their wall thickness about 1 millimeter, I think. Drag it outwards, make it go in 2 sides symmetric. Alright, 1 millimeter is too large. We reduce this to 0.7 and we simply say OK to cut it through. Now we have 4 bodies, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 bodies actually. We can go over to sketches and hide the canvas also, and this is what we have. The next thing for us to do is going to be to offset our face. Select on this, select on these faces, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and we're going to drag it inwards just a little bit this way. So let's say about -1. And the reason why we're doing this is, if you notice in the canvas we have from the side plane, okay, it's not visible here, but let's look at this reference. It's a little bit how do I say, it goes inward a little bit when compared to the top buttons like we have here. So that's the reason why we're doing this for our model. Alright, something else I need to say. Creating this is kind of strange, and I need to point out that for the original button, it's definitely not like this. I mean, it's not a solid object in which it is completely filled. I suppose we understand that it's going to be shelled for the original object. And also I've kind of seen images, reference images online, and the way the button actually works is that this part of the buttons are connected to each other. These two parts are connected to each other, and then a casing, this, comes in front to cover them. So that's so that's really the way it is created. But for our case, this is what we're going to have to stick to. All right, so this is good and definitely not bad at all. And so from this we can proceed to go on, because I mean, it looks good enough for the controller pad, and not perfect, but it works. What we do is we're just going to create fillets for these edges that we have. So I'll select 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And we'll make the fillet, let's try 1 millimeter. So this is 1 millimeter, constant. Okay, rolling ball, let's see, setback. I expected the setback to have a little bit of difference or effect here, but apparently it's not interested in that. So I guess what we'll do is we're just going to select on new edges, this also, and make this also 1 millimeter, and go back to rolling. Alright, so I think this is satisfactory now, and I'll say okay. Alright guys, so this is what we have. In the next video we are going to be creating the easy buttons, which are these buttons here. They're pretty easy to do, just circles, extrusions, slot extrusion, and so that's what we're going to achieve in the next one. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I hope you were able to make this to suit your own taste. And I have to say that you could also alter your freeform any way you want. Instead of making it go backward this way, you could make it a straight line. I mean, the freeform is very easy to modify. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this, and I will see you in the next video. Hi there. If you liked this video, you can give it a thumbs up by clicking on the like button, and if you are yet to subscribe, it takes you just about 3 seconds to click on the button and select the notification bell so you get updates when new uploads are made. Alright, that's all for now. See you in the next video.